What up, homies? Hopefully you can hear me this time. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the live stream. So I figured what we could start off with today would be just kind of open up discussion. There's been a lot of leaks. Actually, there's been some new news that's come out here about the series here in the past couple of days. So I'm interested to hear your takes on that. I'll be putting out a video probably next week on it. And then, I guess some of the other stuff that's been going on, I got a lot of responses randomly to my little rant on spoilers and people asking me questions and private messaging me and things like that. So we could dive into that a little bit too. Real quick, if you are just joining us here on the stream, we're just getting started. If you can hit the like button on the video, it really helps YouTube kind of promote this stuff. So please take a moment and hit the like button. I appreciate it. Hopefully you all are doing well. So, hey, I'm really awful at this typically. So trying to do some interaction on the chat there. If you have questions, if you have comments, I'd love to see you. Love to see you make your comments there and post questions and topics and things like that. I don't have a super high agenda. I just haven't done one of these in a while. And I figured, hey, a lot of times you guys like interacting and I like talking about the Wheel of Time. So, hey, it works out. So I'll say this. Shush your mouth, Longshanks. My audio is always set up other than the last time because I had a new computer set up. But I'll say one thing that's kind of funny while you guys are getting going here. I mentioned my Bella casting video in the last video. And apparently some of you all didn't know that I had made a couple parody videos. I've actually got 3 separate parody videos out there, which is kind of funny. There's a Bella casting video. There's a Bella. Hold on, I need to turn my Discord off, or else you guys are going to hear it beeping in the background. But I've got the Bella casting video. I had the Bella character analysis, and then probably I think my favorite of my parody videos was the leaks video that really trolled people, that got people pissed off. The Black Tower map in that one. So if you all haven't seen those, Longshanks talking about the Black Tower reveal. Thank you, Alan, very much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate all of you who have hit the like button. It's funny because I mentioned that and I got a bunch of comments on that particular video talking about it. Like they hadn't seen it before. And so what are, so we get Danaloo, what are some of our future video plans? Okay, so my next video is actually already written. Part of the reason, guys, it takes me a while. I'll walk you through my process for making videos, which is I consider most of my videos to be a little bit more of like a video essay. I'm a little less of an off-the-cuff, just give me a topic and let me talk about it. Not that I don't think I can do that. I just think there's better people that do that. Like Daniel Green is really great about just kind of talking about a subject. I kind of like to do research and go deeper on things. And so I try to formulate my videos as a little bit more of a video essay, if you think, or if you want to think of it that way. And so the writing process is, now it's not to say that I'm right every time, but at least I have educated opinions. And so I spend a lot of time on the writing process. And so that probably takes the longest. And so my next video is actually kind of a follow-up to my video on the One Power. I did one on channeling and the One Power, which got into the end, where we ranked all of the channelers in the series based on Robert Jordan's scale and kind of came up with that. So my next video is kind of a follow-up. I've been asked to make this one for a while. It is going to be the top. It's the most powerful characters in the Wheel of Time. And so I've kind of ranked that, not just in the one, but power overall. Okay. And so there's a couple different factors. I've actually come up with an even more detailed ranking system for those of you who like my ranking system videos where am I lagging a little bit? I don't think I should be, but, exit out of everything else. But any case, that's my I don't know if I'm lagging, guys. I don't know what to say. I see that. I don't know how to fix that because I am connected to the good internet this time, and it's showing as good on me. But hey, hopefully it's not too awful. But so, any case, maybe it'll clear up here in a second. So, any case, that's kind of my next video. Will be the most powerful people in the Wheel of Time. So that'll hopefully be something that'll be interesting to you guys. It's kind of fun to make. It's interesting to see who kind of comes out of the top with my ranking system. I've made an even more detailed rubric, if you want to call it that. You guys will enjoy that. That one should come out tomorrow. I'm going to record that probably later tonight and then edit it and get it out to you tomorrow. So let's see. What are the biggest differences between Sanderson Jordan books and the ones that were just written by Jordan? Very much, I would say there's two things that are majorly different there. I think pacing is one of them, and I'm not sure that that's entirely just because it's Brandon Sanderson's writing style. I think a lot of it is also that he was trying to finish the books, and so no matter what the pacing in the final books of a series like this, even if Robert Jordan had written them, I think would have been faster because it's basically arc after arc after arc after arc concluding. So I think it feels like the pacing for Brandon Sanderson is faster, and it probably is. I just, a lot of Sanderson's other books are not exactly fast paced, so I don't think it's just entirely that Brandon Sanderson wrote a fast paced book. What I would say that Brandon Sanderson's style is, I have always felt, this is a personal opinion, I think that he writes in a cinematic fashion. So what I mean by that is I feel like Brandon Sanderson writes as though he's writing action for a TV show. Okay. So like things are big moments. It's like a big, powerful, whatever. And I think Robert Jordan is a lot more, it's a lot more detailed. It's a lot more nuanced, and his build up to certain events is a lot slower. But I also feel like Robert Jordan's build up to certain moments is what makes those moments bigger in the payoff. So that's my take on the difference between the two. I don't know if that, I think character voice is natural, but I don't think that's a Sanderson difference as much as it is having a whole new writer come in and try to write Matt. I actually thought Sanderson did pretty well on most of the characters' voices. I think there's a couple that he struggled with, and he admittedly struggled with Matt. Matt's a difficult character to write because, frankly, if you really think about Matt doesn't make sense as a character. His reactions to things are not. I don't know many people that know somebody like Matt. Let's put it that way. I think we know somebody like Perrin. I think we know someone like Rand. I think we know someone like Egwene. I'd be shocked if you knew somebody that acted like Matt. And so I feel like that's probably a difficult one to rate because simultaneously Matt is bumbling sometimes and kind of, I don't want to call him dumb because he's never dumb, but he's oblivious at the same time making really good decisions at other times. And so it's difficult, I think, sometimes to do that. Welcome, new joiner. Oh, no, suggestion for a video topic: political power rankings and Randland. That's actually Stubble McShave. Look for that video tomorrow. That is a big part of that one. I think you'll enjoy that. Yeah, I do. So Longshanks hit on this. One of my longer term goals, and in part, guys, I've just been, this past month and a half for me, really 2 months, has been, it's good. It's good for me personally. My life has been kind of crazy in the last 2 months. For a lot of you guys know, I own a business. I own a financial services company. And I've been traveling. I've been opening offices in different locations. And because of that, I have had much less time to devote to my YouTube channel than I would like to have. So like I said, it's simultaneously, it's kind of good for me, but it's bad for the channel. And so I have been kind of crazy in terms of not being able to get out videos like I really like to. I would really like to settle in at getting out 2 a week, and it's been a struggle sometimes for me to get to 1. And so I think that's going to change here in the near future. I think things will settle down for me a little bit, but it has been difficult. And so one of the things that kind of went on the back burner with all the other things is I've been remaking all of the maps for the Wheel of Time series, and I finished my Shadar Logoth map, which was an extremely long one to make. These are very detailed because I'm doing like street by street, things like that. And so I've almost finished White Bridge. I want to finish a couple other maps. And then what I'm going to do with that is it's going to set me up to be able to do, first of all, battle maps so that you guys can kind of see visuals and things moving around for the battles. Hopefully we can do, one of my plans is do story recaps where you can actually see where people go and the timelines, things like that. So these are things I'd love to do. And you can see if you guys, for those of you that are patrons of mine, if you're not a patron and you want to be one, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But for those of you that are patrons of mine, I've got a lot of the maps that I have already finished. They're up on the Patreon, so you can go and look at them and kind of see some of those. And eventually I'll have more of the maps, like when the website is finished. I'm actually in the process, I think, of hiring somebody to help me finish the website, invest a little bit of money into it. I will probably, guys, look for this. I haven't decided what platform I want to use for it. I'm probably going to do a little bit of crowdfunding for that, because I know a lot of people have been hearing about the website. For me to get it done like I need it to get done, I need to hire someone to do some of it. And so for that, I think I might do some crowdfunding. We may do a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or something, so you guys can have kind of a permanent name on the website. But there's a lot of cool things that I think we can do with that. That I'm really excited to get out to you. I just need more time in the day. So that's my that's the gist of what's coming. But there's a lot of different things I can do when I have maps that I want. So hey, one other thing real quick too, guys, if you don't mind, if you are watching the stream, if you don't mind hitting the like button in the video, that would be awesome. It really helps YouTube promote the channel. And if I miss your comment in the chat, I'll try to get to it. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of the longer term plans for the series. I've got a video coming out here soon on that, and then I've got a couple other. I want to do some more character analysis videos. The weird thing for you guys, and you guys are maybe a little different, because a lot of you that are watching here are regular watchers for my channel. It's weird for me because my favorite videos to make are the lore videos. I like doing deep dives into the books, things like that. And those do, but the videos that perform the best are the ones that I do about the show, which there's a lot of people that want to hear about the show. So it's not that I don't like making show videos or anything like that. I just, they're definitely fun to make. I'm super interested in the show, obviously, but I don't want to be the show news person where it's like every breaking news story that comes out, I need to make a video about. So I've been trying to kind of cut back on the news videos, even though those get more views, and maybe doing like one every 2 weeks to kind of sum up what's happened. And then really focusing more back on lore videos. So I'll probably do a character deep dive here next. I haven't done one of those in a bit. And then I'd like to do, I may go back and remake, and as weird as it sounds, I may go back and remake some of the videos I've made in the past. Some of my oldest videos, like I did an Andor cultural examination series. I might go back and remake that with some new information and new graphics at some point. So I don't know that I'm going to go like immediately do that, but I think I'll probably keep making more lore videos. And here's my other rationale for that. News videos get more views in the moment, but I feel like with the show coming out, there's going to be a lot of new Wheel of Time fans that might want to learn about the show. And so to have a stockpile of lore videos that people can kind of binge is something that I think can be kind of fun. So I will probably focus and keep focusing on making lore type videos, making some fun top 10s, things like that. That's probably what I'll stick with. Phoenix, your Wheel of Time TV show videos are what brought me to your channel. I stayed for the lore videos. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I want to do a reaction video to the series when the show comes out. A lot of the videos that I'll make around the TV series are going to be based on how they release it. I have a feeling I will. Obviously, I'm not expecting this, but I have a feeling I will most likely get to watch the series before you guys do. So I may make a review for it ahead of time, which I'll be under an NDA, I'm sure. I don't know for sure that'll happen, but it's fairly typical that kind of thing does happen with anybody that's a content creator. And I have been in contact with people from the show, so not regular contact. And guys, I do not have insider information or anything crazy beyond a few things that aren't even a big deal. So I won't. I'm not going to speculate or say anything like that, but it wouldn't shock me if I got to see some of that. But in terms of if they release it weekly, I'm actually much more in favor of that, because I can do like 2 videos on the I can do like a recap, and then I can do kind of like an Easter egg, break it down, look at the different things. So that should be fun. But if they release it all at once, that's going to be a difficult thing for me, because I really can't, like, I have to watch the whole darn thing, and then I got to make videos on each episode. Like, it's just, I would much rather them release it weekly from a selfish standpoint. But in any case, that's kind of my thought process on that. Phoenix, I think you had some really good videos on the TV show at the beginning, though. As someone that didn't know anything about how Amazon worked, I appreciate that, man. I wanted to do some research, and because I knew Amazon was different, and I wanted to look into like what I hadn't watched a lot of Amazon series up to that point, to be honest with you. I've watched a lot of them since. I personally prefer the news videos, but more specifically, I enjoy your deep dive into the background of the TV show. Well, thanks, chump. I appreciate that. And I think everybody's going to have different interests with that. I want to strike a balance, because I like the TV show stuff too. I'm a big fan of the series, so I like talking about it, and this was a good outlet for me. Like your top 10 videos and the breakdowns. Well, good, Carolyn. I appreciate that. You'll see one tomorrow. So, Longshanks, you're my buddy. What are we buddying about? Am I missing something? Did you say something? I want to do. Okay, you go through, do your diligence, finding out things for most of us that the other people don't. Well, again, I appreciate that. Part of that is because I just feel like there's better places for you guys to go get like instant news. That's kind of not the niche I want to fall into, is like, hey, here's what happened. See ya. I feel like you can get that from other video series. You can get that from reading it. I would rather get into talking a little bit more about some of the thought behind it, why they're doing what they're doing, things like that. That's just maybe the way my mind works. So I appreciate you that say that. So I've actually reached out to Juniper about the new covers. I see a couple of you guys talking about the covers. I think from what I've seen, they're pretty. I'd love to have that sitting behind me, and we do that. We'll see. I'd like to do a review with them, sort of like Daniel did, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, they are. Are you gonna make videos with a big red circle around something? And went away. And see things X you missed or you never saw. Yeah, I will. I don't know if it'll be like things you missed, but yeah, you might call it an Easter egg video, things like that, where I can kind of go through and say this is this and this is that, and because a lot of times in TV shows there are characters that they may go unnamed in the TV show, but are characters from the book. So that could be kind of interesting to see. I feel like it would be interesting, at least. I also read The Wheel of Time like 10 times or so. So it's nice getting videos when I'm watching and thinking, why did you miss this? Or why did you miss that? Yeah, I think that's fun. Here's a couple of things with, first of all, let me say something general about The Wheel of Time. I don't know if you don't mind, guys. This will be a kind of a very informal poll. Let's run. If you can write down in the comments below how many times you all have read the series, roughly. Just put a number down. How many times have you read the series? I want to do kind of an informal poll here to get a feel for kind of who the audience is. If you're not done with the whole thing, just put 0. So definitely interested in that. Of course, there's a little delay on the chat on my end, so it's hard to tell. So 1, 4.5. 1. Okay. So a couple of you are the lot, 1, 2, things like that. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of us that are 10 plus. Some of you are the 1 and 2 level. Here's the thing. Here's the reason I wanted to ask that question. The interesting thing with the Wheel of Time for me, I've been a fantasy fan. I'm actually a fantasy science fiction type fan. Like I think my first books that I really really loved, I liked Michael Crichton a lot. So I read a lot of Michael Crichton books. Jurassic Park had me hooked in like 5th grade. So I was not like, I wouldn't say I was just a diehard fantasy fan, but the thing that's happened with Wheel of Time to me, and I think this is a combination of how long the series is, but also how good of a writer I think Robert Jordan is. I think the hardest time to get through Wheel of Time, believe it or not, is the first read. I think the series actually gets better a lot of times as you read it more, which is weird because I have no idea what I'm at now. It's a lot. I've read it a lot. Easily 20 times, if not more than that now. I'm kind of from doing this channel, I'm on a constant reread, basically. Like anytime I'm in the car or cooking or anything like that, I have the audiobooks going. So, but here's the reason, like, why is it so rereadable? And part of that, I think, is you understand a little bit more each time you read it because it is so detailed and it is so epic and it is so large that it's easy to kind of gloss over something the first time. But mostly when you read it again, it's just like when you get to the final end, like the characters have come so far that you feel like you're starting a new, the story all over again, and you learn something and you see stuff and there's little foreshadowing. I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Robert Jordan is a master of subtle foreshadowing. There's a whole lot of it that you don't even know is going on. And even you'll see more and more of it the more times you read it. One big one, guys, and again, if you're watching this video, it's kind of spoilery. I'll say this. The end of Eye of the World. Most people don't know this. I was talking about this on the Dusty Wheel the other night. The Eye of the World. How many of you actually even know? Would you guys like to see me do a video explaining what actually happened at the end of the Eye of the World? Because I think for a lot of people, they have no idea really what was happening. It's kind of confusing to them. And I think it's actually very confusing the first time you read it. But if you've read at least 6 books, if you go back and reread it, you're going to understand kind of what's happening without knowing it. So would you guys like for me to break that down? I'm seeing a couple of you saying, yes, do that. I think I will do that. I think I will probably do that. So I see Scott Comfort saying, would you consider doing a follow-up to your episode by episode breakdown? Love the effort and quality of your last one. I appreciate that, Scott. I don't know that I want to speculate too much on that because I don't, my point in doing that was more just to show that it was possible. But if you do want to see an episode by episode breakdown, the Badger Reborn is a new content creator. He's one of the moderators in my Discord server, actually. I think I see him in the chat here. He has a couple videos out where he's kind of trying to break down the book, so the series. I'm sorry, and you might want to look at that. So that could be a good place to do it. I may do it again. I just don't like speculating too much. I don't know why. I had trouble before they started doing casting announcements. I did a couple of casting videos, and I just don't like the speculation as much as other people do. I like talking about what we know, but not so much, hey, who might they cast or that kind of thing. It just didn't. It wasn't something that I was super excited about doing. So I did that more as a proof of concept. Is that could you fit it into 4 books if you need, or 4 episodes if you needed to? And I was actually really shocked that you could. I was talking about this on the Dusty Wheel. I will address this. I have kind of shifted my thinking a little bit. I actually do not think we're going to get very far into the Great Hunt in the first season. Now that I've seen some of the casting. Because, first of all, one of the big casting things that's come out is that Peter Franzen is going to be the warder for Kareem Nagashi. He's going to play her warder. And, of course, Kareem Nagashi is an Aes Sedai from the New Spring novel. So she died, actually, in the New Spring novel 20 years before the start of the series. So we knew that was weird that she was going to be in it. And so there's kind of two trains of thought from that. Number one, why would they announce an Aes Sedai from 20 years ago? And then not only that, bring in arguably one of the more famous actors in the entire casting as a warder for said Aes Sedai from 20 years ago. Why would they do that if it's just going to be a 5-minute flashback? So what that leads me to believe is that it's not going to be a 5-minute flashback to New Spring. I think we may see something much, much longer. Okay. And so that's what I think that we may be seeing a prolonged flashback of sorts from the Flame of Tarvalin on. I would not be shocked at this point if season 1 ends with the start of the Great Hunt, okay, or something along those lines. I just don't think that we're going to see much of the Great Hunt in season 1. That's just my thought. So I could be wrong, but I definitely think that that's kind of where the tea leaves are pointing, if you want to put it that way. Double McShave, the tight third limited gives you hints, and oftentimes you miss your first reread, such as the end of the Eye of the World and Uneven Land. You pick up those things during rereads, and yes, absolutely you do. I don't think we're going to see doing all of the Great Hunt. I do want to see Magic study this season, though. Great way to info dump the Magic system. I think they're going to do a lot of info dump on the Magic system with Moraine and Egwene right outside of the Two Rivers. I think that's going to give you the basics. I do think that we may see Tarvalin, but who knows? Who knows what's going to end up happening with that? Season 1 could end up with a collar around Egwene's neck. I agree. Something like that, but I don't know that they may mess with the timelines a little bit. So what I am kind of excited about is they do have us on our toes a little bit about what's going to happen. And that is something that I am fairly excited about with this, is that even us that have read the books a whole lot don't exactly know how they're going to do things. And I know for a lot of people, they want like a word for word exactly from the books type description. And you know what? I'm not huge on that. I'm okay with a little bit of artistic changes. Not changes that change the tone or the thought of the story, but I'm okay with small changes, because to me, and I've said this before in other videos, the books are always going to be the books. So even if the show is the worst thing ever, that's okay. The books are still the books. I have those. They can't ruin the books for me. Okay. In fact, I'm actually kind of hoping they ruin the books, because there are some shows that are better. Like I would argue, I've read Song of Fire and Ice. I would argue up until season 6, I would say the show for Game of Thrones was better, in my opinion, than the books were. I know some people may not agree with me on that, but I read the books. I'd read the books before the show. I was one of the people that was excited when the show was coming out. I actually think the show was done really well up until that point. I think after season 6, it got pretty shaky, but so anyways, that's my thought on it. Let me hit on some of your comments here. Guys, I apologize for not getting to comments. Sorry, some of them that are highlighted pop up better for me here. I would argue that the New Spring would be a good jumping point to introduce the kind of adventures that a new Aes Sedai can get up to. I'm curious how they're going to use the New Spring. My initial thought with New Spring was that they were going to be using that as kind of exposition for the backstory between Swan and Moraine. The part that I worry about, I think flashbacks can be incredibly cheesy if they're done poorly. Like if we get and then we go back in time, like I really don't want that. I think it has to be done in a very subtle way. And maybe they could be experimenting with some Witcher style time jumps where we don't necessarily know that they're time jumping. Okay. Until, I don't know if they're going to do this, but like they could do messing with that, because they shouldn't look any older during New Spring than they are later on, because I really don't age. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be Moraine and Swan look drastically different or anything like that. I don't know that they're going to do that, but I do think subtle time jumps could be possible. I just don't want it to be cheesy. That's what I don't want. I don't want it to look like cheesy fantasy. That's that would be my big worry. Okay, Linolyn wants to see my imitation of a flashback again. It's this. Ooh, there you go. Hey, Ilya, thank you so much again from Moscow. I appreciate you. What about that guy, Pasha Bakari, who was mentioned that Wheel of Time on Twitter? Some say he might be Bail Doman. Could be real or just another minor role actor. I really have no idea in this case. I looked into it a little bit. I haven't done a ton of study on that because I saw that. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about his history, but I do see that he has been cast, or at least he's saying he's been cast. Nothing's been announced from the show. He could just be a small character. He could be somebody large. I think it's easy to speculate that. I don't have enough, I think, at this point to say one way or the other. I wish I did. Here's one of the things I am hoping. I'm hoping that we get some answers to who some of these people are. Like Daryl McCormick, we still don't know who he is. And I think there's a reason they're keeping that from us. Because I think whoever he is playing would probably give away where they're going with the plot, and they're not ready to tell us that yet. So a lot of those people, I think that there's a reason we haven't heard. So, guys, if you think that, so I'll tell you this: there's a difference between leaks from the shooting. I'll say this: I have talked to people from the show. There are some of the leaks that they are not happy about, like that are actual leaks. And then there are some, these aren't leaks. This is a coordinated marketing campaign to have people find out who's playing who, or that someone's involved with the show or not. You're not going to find out someone's involved with the show at all. Okay. You're not going to find out about that at all unless they want you to. Okay. So it's they're letting people post that. Like these actors know better than, hey, I've been cast, let me immediately put that up on my Instagram. They're not doing that out on a whim or accidentally. They're doing that with the show's permission. They meet and have lawyers and agents and people set up contracts. So like when that happens, they're deliberately doing it. And the opposite of that is true also. There are characters that we do not know that are involved in the show. Okay. We don't know that they are like, for instance, people that are speculating that Min and Elaine and Gawain and Galad and all that are cut because we don't have actors or actresses for them. I don't think you can actually make that assumption, because it's easy for me to say to somebody, hey, I've cast you as so-and-so. When you come to Prague for your filming, do not make any posts. Do not post where your location is. Don't use social media. Okay. They would do that. That would be an easy statement to make if I did not want them to know that someone had come here. They can keep that stuff a secret if they want to. So the times that you're finding out about it are times that they do not care. Okay. To be very clear. In Marvel, I see somebody saying this. Alan, I think, says this. Tom Holland drops purposeful spoilers that they try to make it look like are not on purpose. That's part of Marvel's strategy. Okay. So any case, I just say that for all of you who are worried about people we haven't seen or anything like that. That's fairly normal. Raider Fan Keef, flashbacks are much easier to do if a character is talking about the past to let viewers know a flashback is incoming. P.S. You rock. I appreciate you. You rock as well. You guys are awesome. This is the best fan base in the world. So I appreciate y'all. Sorry, my phone is beeping at me. But yeah, I'm not going to assume, or I don't know who he is. I guess I'll put it that way. So to go back to the original question, I have no idea who he could be playing. Will you be doing another book to series episode breakdown like you did with the Eye of the World? Be interesting how it can be done for a subsequent series. I feel like I'm getting that one a lot. And I guess I could do that. That took a while to do. it's possible I could do it. I don't know that I have too much interest in doing it, and part of the reason is it does take a while. And second of all, uh, what I was doing with that was not really speculating on what I thought they are going to do. Okay, so I want to make that clear. When I did my episode breakdown for The Eye of the World, it was not saying, hey, here's what I think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to do exactly what I did. In fact, I don't think it'll look anything like I did. What I was doing was more of a proof of concept that says, if I wanted to take scene by scene from The Eye of the World and put it into a TV show form, could that be done? Right? That was what I was looking to do. And really, it was like I said, and I was surprised at the fact that it could be done. And it really got me thinking, because I, again, had watched the Game of Thrones episodes, and it was like, wow, they pack a lot into this. So, yeah, I don't know if I really have a strong desire to do it again, because, again, it's total speculation, and I really like. I just don't find I find that harder to write. I don't know why that is. To me, it's just hard to do. So I see some people asking about how the wiki is coming along. So guys, let me explain kind of where we're at with the website and the wiki and all that. So I have parts of it I could make live right now, and I've debated just throwing the website up as being half finished, or not even half finished. It's going to be a work in progress, and we've got people that are working on those wiki pages individually, and so I have to take what they've written, put them on the website, and so I think what I'm going to do is probably hire somebody to do some of that work for me in terms of the editing. I need to get that out. Like, it's something that it's dying, because I have so many things I want to do with that website. I really do. So been kind of excited to see that happen. And I'm going to definitely be pushing that here in the near future. Like I said, I may be doing a Kickstarter of sorts here to kind of raise up a little money to pay someone to finish part of it. So, because we've got a lot of content to put in it, it's just running out of time to take said content and put it on said website. Do you think Maria Doyle Kennedy will play Varen or Swan? I've said this before, Stubble. I think that Maria Doyle Kennedy is Varen. The reason I say that, I'd be shocked if she was Swan. And I've watched a lot of Maria Doyle Kennedy. You watch her in interviews. It's a total not Swan vibe. Like she's got the almost like obliviousness that Varen might have. She kind of talks in that tone. She doesn't have any of the abrasiveness or harshness in her voice or in her smile that you would expect out of Swan. So to me, like, she's a great actress. It would be odd for her to be Swan, in my opinion. I think she fits Varen much, much better in terms of her mannerisms. And again, actors and actresses act. So they can act different than they are in real life. I just feel like she's probably more of a Varen. So I doubt they would hire a very old actor for Swan. She's supposed to look young. Agreed. Because Swan, actually, for Aes Sedai standards, Swan and Moiraine were both very young. Swan is only about 45 years old in the story. So a little less than that, actually. I think she's like 43 or 44 years old. So she's not very old compared to a lot of the other Aes Sedai. And she's actually, Aes Sedai typically slow around the age of 20 to 25. So they look like they're 22, 23 years old. Now, that's in the books. How they do that in the show is going to be different, but they do start to look older, but she and like girlish in a sense. And so I just don't see her. She doesn't have the harshness that you might expect out of Swan. That's, I think, what the biggest thing is. Here we go. Badger is being a troll again. Min is being combined with Moiraine. That is certainly not true. That is not going to happen. So, are the Lord of the Rings TV show and Wheel of Time releasing in similar times? If so, do you think they could be detrimental to Wheel of Time because the first couple of books borrow a lot of ideas from Lord of the Rings? So, no. First of all, they're not releasing at the same time. Number one, Wheel of Time is going to come out before it. Number two, I don't think it would matter anyway because they're not the Lord of the Rings TV show is not addressing the events of Lord of the Rings. It's addressing events prior, and so way prior actually. So I don't I don't think that's going to be an issue at all because it's not going to follow that plot. And I think they're going to get away enough in the visual representations from it looking a whole lot like Lord of the Rings. I don't think that we're going to run into that. I don't think that'll be too big of an issue. Maggie Smith for Cadsuane. I would love to see Maggie Smith from 15 years ago as Cadsuane. Just like I would have loved to have seen Patrick Stewart from 20 years ago as Tom Maryland. I think he would have been an outstanding Tom Maryland. But he's a little too old now. And just like I think Maggie Smith is probably a little too old. Maggie Smith would be a better Sorilea than, but doesn't really have the look for Sorilea. But okay. What characters do you think will benefit from being merged with the other characters for the live show? Okay. Loaded, deep question here. Get a drink to get this one. Okay. So that's going to be hard because I think merging characters, if you're going to merge a character, they have to play similar functions. I think the characters that stand the best chance of getting merged are a lot of the Aes Sedai. Like, I think you're already seeing that with Alana, because Alana does not have a role in the capture of Logain, but it looks like in the show she's going to. So I think Alana will be there for that reason. So she's already an example of somebody who I think has probably been merged with other named Aes Sedai. One that gets thrown around that I'll tell you that I do not think is actually very compelling story arcs if you do that. I think Galad actually has a pretty cool arc through the story. Gawain doesn't have as much of an arc as he is just annoying all the way through, in my opinion. I think Galad actually has an arc. And so it's very interesting to see who he is at the beginning, to how he kind of, his belief system is challenged and how he ends up at the end of the story. I think that's compelling. And his arc kind of corresponds with the arc of the White Cloaks. So I don't think taking away those two things would happen. I think they're going to make some changes to them, but I don't think they're going to be combined. I've seen, like, I think Daniel Green talked about combining the two of them, and I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that would make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I don't really have much of an answer on that. I think it's mostly going to be Aes Sedai. So, okay, so I'm currently watching Outlander with my wife. Such a great show for world building without overuse of special effects. Makes me looking forward to Wheel of Time TV show even more. Yeah, Outlander is a great show. It's actually a pretty outstanding show. And there's actually, trying to remember who it is from that is going to be in Wheel of Time, but there's going to be, okay, so people are asking me, I'm sorry, I was talking about Galad and Gawain being combined. I don't think it's going to happen. That's, to sum it up, not go back and do what I did. That's what I was saying. So, but I do agree, Outlander is a great show. It's an outstanding show. Do I think they're going to combine Forsaken? I sure as heck hope not. I want every single Forsaken to be in the show. I did a video on that topic. So if you want to go back and see it, I did. Should they cut the Forsaken? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is no. I want to see every single one of them. I think they're all compelling. I actually think they need to expand the role of the Forsaken. That's what I think. I think they need to have bigger roles, bigger backstories, bigger understanding why they do what they do. So there's my short answer. Go watch the video for the longer answer. Should I hold off on watching things on Amazon Prime until Wheel of Time comes out? At this point, no, Phoenix. They are... Yeah, their first watch is one of the things they look at from a Prime subscription. That's one of the indicators. But they also look at other ones. Like, they do look at the people that watch the show. They can cover who watches it. And if you are more likely to keep your subscription to Prime because you're watching Wheel of Time every week, then they're... Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect anything. So, guys, I would definitely not hold off. Watching Amazon stuff is good. They've got great shows. I actually think... I don't even think this is a stretch anymore. Amazon makes the best content for of the streaming services. Amazon spends the most money, makes the highest quality content. If you guys have not checked out Amazon shows, you really, really should. The Boys is outstanding. Man in the High Castle is outstanding. Jack Ryan is outstanding. There's a lot. I mean, I'm missing a bunch of them, but there's tons of them that are really, really good. So you should check them out. HBO is very good too, but I don't necessarily think of HBO as a streaming service. They're more of a network that's been established. But yeah, HBO probably makes the best content, in my opinion, but not far behind is Amazon. Amazon's winning Emmys and all kinds of things. So Good Omens is incredible. So I think that would be great. My biggest concern for the show is how they will show the long-running madness and insanity of Rand in a truthful way without losing the audience. So I guess I want to understand what you're saying by that is like what your concern is that they're going to show Rand's madness and insanity without lose. Like, are you saying that the audience is not going to understand that he's going crazy? I guess I want to confirm what you're saying before I comment on that. So answer that, and I'll get back to it. Amazon is doing a great job with their trailers. I'm looking forward to our first look, maybe sometime this year. Yeah, Trippy. I talked about this in my last video. I would expect us to see a trailer here this summer. That would be my expectation based on just typically how long they wait before releasing trailers and when we know the show's coming out. So I would expect to see that this summer. They typically put their trailers on TV, but then also in like movie theaters. So if you go to the movie, you should see a Wheel of Time trailer, which will be really freaking cool. I'm excited to see that. Okay. They cut the Camelin. What if they cut the Camelin crew for season 1? Cut the garden scene, and they can be introduced in season 2 in the White Tower. I think there's a possibility that can happen. I do think there's a possibility because the problem with that from a TV production standpoint, the problem with the Camelin crew, if you want to call it that, so everybody in the palace, Elida, Elaine, Gawain, Galad, Morgase, Gareth Bryn, all of them. The problem with that is that you're essentially casting people for a cameo role to then show up as main characters in the next season. That's difficult because you don't want to pay someone that's going to be locked into a contract. You want to pay them for a full season of work for a 10-minute scene, right? That's the conundrum there. And so that's partially what leads me to believe we're going to see them in the second part of season 1. So if they are going to show them, we're going to see them again. But they could cut them entirely, and then we meet them in season 2 in the White Tower. I think that's entirely possible, and I think it would be an easy change. So to answer that, I think it's possible they go either way with it. So, okay. Part of the charm of the madness in the books, though, is that you don't really know that he's insane until after he was actually insane. And yes, yes, and yes. I think there's a lot of people that would argue Rand was never crazy. I thought that. I think my first couple reads, I just assumed Rand was sane, and it was really just Lews Therin, and everybody thought he was crazy. Okay. No, Rand was pretty crazy. Rand was nuts, and he had gotten pretty hard and cold and evil to an extent. Like Rand gets pretty dark. So yeah, I don't. What I'm more interested in seeing and how they're going to display the madness is how they're going to display the voice in his head. Okay, how they're going to do Lews Therin. That's what I want to know. Because if you have a voice in his head, that again, I'm just thinking of how that shows up visually. That seems kind of cheesy to me. If it's just a voice in his head, so then you can kind of go with like the Beautiful Mind type, where he's almost schizophrenic to an extent, and you see Lews Therin, and Rand sees him, but nobody else does. Like, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. And I think that's one of the challenges they're going to face. I don't know which of those I would prefer more. Which would you guys prefer? Would you prefer to see Lews Therin as a voice, just a voiceover, or would you prefer to actually see him? I'm curious. Sorry, a bunch of you must be joining the Discord here because my thing is beeping back and forth at me here. If you have not joined our Discord server, I will do a quick pitch here. Guys, if you like talking about the Wheel of Time and you're not a member of our Discord server, click the link down below and join. Even if you don't know what Discord is, you just click it and join. We talk about this stuff all the time. There is a voice chat there that you can hop in, and I think patrons only up to a certain level. Which, by the way, I will say this. If you guys want to support the channel and you want to support what I do, it's honestly super, super appreciated. I've got a lot of maps. There's a lot of patron only content up on the Patreon. So if you want to support the channel, click the link for the Patreon, and you can pick a tier to support us at. We've got a couple crazy high supporters there, which is awesome. And all of that really goes, I try to put all of it back into helping the channel in some way, shape, or form. So I appreciate all of you that do that. And yeah. So, okay. Problems with cutting Camelin is that Gawain and Elida never met Rand. Never meet Rand. I'm sorry, meeting him is central to their character motivations. I agree with that, Stubble. I think they can maneuver it so it happens another way. But yeah, it's curious, like if they do choose to cut that, what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to, and I hope they don't. But if they do, I think there's a way to pull it off. I'll say that. Okay, is Perrin really going to be married at the beginning of the show before they leave? Guys, I don't know, and I don't think so. I think that's more of a red herring. Like, nobody's really reported credibly that he's going to be married. Okay, there's people that have speculated that because there's a Layla Abara. But that could be a sister. It could be somebody else. They could be just a messed up name. Like, I don't know. I don't know how much do I believe that. If he is married, I'm going to hope that they're going to do that well. There's probably a reason why they took that narrative arc if they do it. So, yeah. William Freisinger, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it a lot. You have no idea, man. Do you think they will cast two separate actors for Shamael and Moradin? Yes, I do. I think there will definitely be two actors for that. Because I think part of the mystery is understanding who Moradin is at first. Like, we didn't really know who Moradin was right? And bringing Shamael back, I mean, Shamael's dead. So if they do kill a Shamael, then they bring back Moradin. It'll definitely be a different actor. I think it's definitely going to be two. Okay. Elida seeing Rand is the reason that the Amerlin goes to Faldara in such a hurry. Agreed. That is part of it. It's keep in mind, like she takes off pretty quickly there after finding out. So I don't know. There are ripples to that change. So if they decide to cut Camelin, there are ripples to that decision. Are they unovercomable? That's not even a word, but are they ripples that can't be overcome? No. Okay. They could overcome that if they wanted to do that. If they felt like it was a good narrative choice to skip it, I can get behind it as long as they do it well. Okay. Okay. The problem with Perrin being married is that later makes Fael seem less of a bit meaningful to him. Well, maybe they are going to make Fael less meaningful. It's possible they could do that. Fael's not a very universally loved character. Trippy, hey man, I love your content. I was a big fan of your postponed season 1 or your proposed. I cannot read. I'm sorry. Proposed season 1 breakdown really gave me hope that if they choose to condense the story. Gave me hope if they choose to condense the story beats. Yes. I appreciate it, man. That was kind of the goal. It was not really intentional that I thought that that's what would happen, but it ended up working out that way. Yeah, I am a big fan of. I want to see them. Here's what I guess I'm trying to paraphrase. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about what I want to say here. I want to see them do this in a way that just comes across well. I'm not a fan of cheesy fantasy. I want them to be able to pull in, like Game of Thrones did, non-fantasy people, because that's the way that this story grows, right? It's not, and really, Wheel of Time is not traditional fantasy. It's not dragons and necessarily things running around. Like, there are obviously the word dragon is in the show. But it's not traditional fantasy, and I think a lot of the ways people think of it. Okay, it's more Renaissance style fantasy, right? But I want them to do it in a way that it's not cheesy, that it's not poorly written, that it comes across well. And I think having it strike the balance and the pacing between having things happen, but then also having character moments is what they need to strike that balance. And I'm really hopeful that they're going to be able to pull that off well. I'll just say that. Okay. Do you think they will have to expose what the Forsaken are up to more clearly than in the books? Yeah, I think they need to flesh the Forsaken out more in terms of what their motivations are, who they are, how they're different, things like that. I think they can still keep some of it secret, though. They don't have to make it clear, and there's ways they can kind of disguise it. Because keep in mind, guys, the Forsaken, for all intents and purposes, can shapeshift. They can disguise themselves. They can transport themselves everywhere. Like, they can mind control people. I mean, they can do different things, right? So there's a lot that they can do without exposing who they are and have us know that somebody menacing is doing said thing in the story, right? So from a visual medium, I think they can hide who they are and what they're doing, but also give us more of them, if that makes sense. Yeah, Alfie Smith, have they officially confirmed skipping Kmart? Absolutely not. They have not officially confirmed that. I think people are speculating that they might be. And I don't know that we have any evidence that they are doing that. So to be very clear. Dark Knight, appreciate it. Or Dar Knight. Probably read that wrong. Hey, I really like your page and the content. Just want to show my support. Hey, I thank you. Thank you so much, man. Guys, I appreciate all the support. It's pretty surreal to know that you get to talk about a series that you like and people support talking about it. So I appreciate all of you. I want to keep bringing good content for us to all spark conversation, keep talking about it. Right now, most of the money that I'm going to be pulling in from this is going to go towards building and sustaining the website, because I feel like we're in need of a really good fan website that has wiki, that has discussion, that has good visual content, and a place for us to take all these new content creators and kind of be able to get their stuff out to people. And I want to be able to provide that in a way, because I feel like we can do that. So anything you guys do to support is going to go towards that, and I appreciate all of you. So okay, I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them cut between the end of the Eye of the World and having Logain being gentled. It would be kind of symbolic. One retrieves the dragon banner while the other is deposed. I love that idea, Stubble, and I would not be shocked if we see that. It kind of fits with the idea of the pattern ending it too. Like, yeah, I love that idea. I think that's really, really subtle. Stubble, you always have great comments. I appreciate you, man. You're always on top of stuff. So that sounds really, really cool. So what else, guys? What else are some different things you're looking forward to? Different questions that you have? Yeah, Stubble is smart. He's awesome with this stuff. And while we are taking this break, I'll give one more pitch. Join the Discord server, guys. Talk with us all the time about it. It's a lot of fun. Hey, I want to make one other big pitch here. If you guys love Wheel of Time and Wheel of Time trivia, we're trying to do tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ipa, who's in the channel right now, is doing a quiz. Ipa does a weekly Wheel of Time quiz that's a lot of fun. It's a live quiz. You get to be a part of it. He's doing his 1-year anniversary tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Be a part of that. If you need to know how to do that, Ipa, can you link your quiz server in the Discord so people can see it? That'd be great. Raider Fan Keef, I appreciate you. Again, thank you so much for the donation, man. If they cut Oliver, I'll be super bummed. You love Oliver. You and Daniel Green would probably fight each other. He hates Oliver and he hopes they cut him. I think Oliver is good because it gives it's just a difference. I actually don't mind child characters. I know Daniel hates them. I think Oliver is actually kind of cool in the story, and I'd like to see him. So, but make sure, by the way, Ipa, make sure you post your Discord. Put a link in the chat. Okay, that's very good. So, guys, if you join my Discord server, click the link below. You can get in the new video discussion. Ipa is going to put a link to his Discord server where he does the quiz. We're trying to get as many people for it tomorrow as we can. So, any case, yeah. So, anyways, guys, post links in here. Yeah, post them in the Discord. So anyways, guys, thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you. Why is my thing going blank? Sorry, it's cutting out for a second, guys. Hopefully you all are still there and you can hear me. Internet is being dumb at the moment. Sorry about that. Okay, I think it's back. But yeah, definitely click the link in the Discord below, guys. Click the Patreon. Also, if you want to support what we do here, there's merch, there's other things. Sorry about that it cut out for a second. Hopefully you guys didn't lose me or anything. It was cutting out on my end. But we are coming up on an hour, and it's probably about time to skip out of here anyway. But hey, guys, thank you for joining us on the channel. I appreciate all of you. Y'all are awesome. And looking forward to getting another video out to you tomorrow. You all have a good one. Take care.